Hi, and welcome to a book review from Warhammer 40k bookreviews.com. Today I'm taking a look at the book Ravenwing by Gav Thorpe. Now, we all know that Space Marines are pretty cool, right? Super soldiers in badass looking power armor. Pretty neat. And of course, the weapons like the chainsword or the bolter, a gun that fires small rocket propelled explosives, that's pretty brutal. But, it must be possible to make Space Marines a little more macho. Like, say, if we had a whole Space Marine company that ride into battle on big frigging motorbikes with armor and guns on them. Oh, yeah. So, that's what the Dark Angels' second company, also known as the Ravenwing, are all about. Apparently competing in some kind of galactic who can be the most macho man contest, they are dedicated to driving headlong into the thick of battle on top of their two-wheeled machines of death. The only way they could possibly be any more macho if they had sidecars with bears in them or something. Anyway, in the book, we meet Anael, a new member of the Ravenwing Company. As the company is deployed to a planet to put the smackdown on some rebels, the senior officers of the Ravenwing discover that something sinister is afoot. The rebellion is actually just one piece of a much greater threat that is being orchestrated by a very old and hated enemy of the Dark Angels. The story moves along at a good pace, and Thorpe keeps the pages packed with one explosive skirmish after the other, leaving the reader in no doubt that Ravenwing is focused on bringing you some good old ultra-violence entertainment, the kind that you only get when you have at least a few dozen Space Marines all shooting the crap out of everything. But even though the focus is solidly placed on bolter shots creating a beautiful pattern of crimson spray made from heretical fleshy bits, there's actually a decent amount of interesting characters in Ravenwing. Aside from Anael himself, who serves as our guide into the world of these space bikers, we meet a number of other Dark Angels, both from inside the Ravenwing and from the totally lame non-bikers of the Fifth Company. Uh, the Ravenwing Company is very insular and secretive as an organization, and tensions start to rise between the people with bikes and the people without. Only the leaders of the Ravenwing Company know the nature of the enemy that the Dark Angels are hunting, and they're not prepared to share this information with anyone not riding a shiny bike filled with guns, which naturally is not at all appreciated by the foot sluggers of the Fifth Company. Moving on to my thoughts on the book, I have to say I quite enjoyed Ravenwing, which was a little bit of surprise to me actually. I do enjoy a good Space Marine novel, but a lot of the 40k books that focus on Space Marines can get a bit bland, serious, and go too heavy into just portraying superhumans in big epic battles. And with Ravenwing, I was afraid that this would be a case of too much battle, completely one-dimensional characters, and a storyline that involved little more than moving from one place to the next while bashing enemies of the Imperium around the head and neck area with chainswords, which certainly does have its place, don't get me wrong. Um, Now, granted, I do have a few reservations about the book. First of all, the whole premise about a company that insists on driving motorbikes everywhere seems a bit impractical, and the author doesn't make it particularly more believable by having the Ronin go into such biker-friendly places as a dense forest or a goddamn space station. I mean, really? You think a huge, bulky bike is a practical vehicle to use in assaulting a space station? I know that space stations in the 40k lore are huge things that are more like cities than cramped steel tubes, but still, I get that it's a cool premise to have space marines on bikes uh, with bolter guns, but it'd be a lot easier for me to swallow if the venues in the book were a little more suitable for driving bikes through. Also, while the story and characters are passable enough to keep you interested until the next big battle, they're still a far cry from what you might find in a book like Eisenhorn or the early Horus Heresy books, for example. But these drawbacks ultimately don't detract from the overall solid entertainment value of Ravenwing. And all in all, I will say that Ravenwing is a worthy read for any Warhammer 40k fan. And if you do have a soft spot for Space Marines, which I do, then you'll like it even more. I give Ravenwing 4 out of 5 chainswords.